Obviously, everyone's seen the story of the United Healthcare CEO who was murdered last week. Many people have been quick to praise it, and although I understand the sentiment for taking down a powerful, greedy, corrupt individual, the guy was still murdered and left a family behind, so I can't really support it. But oftentimes it takes a terrible event like this to spark some of the most important debates. So I thought maybe it was time to open up the discussion and do my part to illuminate some of the greed that truly is happening in the insurance industry from a healthcare provider's perspective. So here are 3 key points. First of all, last year, insurances from the Big 7 that control almost all of the healthcare space made a combined revenue of $1.4 trillion, more than $70 billion in profit. It just shows the scale at which we are currently paying middlemen for healthcare coverage. You, the patients, aren't receiving good enough care, and us, as providers, aren't getting paid what we're worth. So as a nation, we're flushing away more than $70 billion annually to middlemen and still paying trillions out of pocket for copays and non-covered services. It's a lose-lose for us in healthcare. Second, I want to spend a couple of minutes trying to briefly explain how, at the most basic level, providers like me who are cash-based or out-of-network are forced to choose between quality care or participation with the major insurance companies. So I charge about $150 to $200 for an hour session. As somebody who graduated with a doctorate degree, who has a wealth of knowledge in the rehab and fitness space, I'm charging similar rates as a decent personal trainer in my area for an hour of work. In order to participate with health insurance companies and allow patients to see me through their insurance, I'm forced to accept 1/3 or half of that payment for the same hour of work. So for reference, a few years ago, when I was taking insurance, United Healthcare paid me $68 for an hour-long visit. That's less than my barber makes in an hour. So to run a business where I can pay employees, pay a front desk, pay rent, pay overhead, I now need to see 3 clients in an hour instead of 1. So in a nutshell, insurance companies have handcuffed PTs, doctors, dentists, chiropractors, everybody in healthcare that can accept insurance, into deciding, do I take insurance and average 20 minutes with my client, or try my best to do quality work and see people for an hour and give them the time they deserve and the best that my expertise has to offer. Since I've worked in many in-network companies, you're not getting good care in 20 minutes, no matter how good the PT is. And if we're talking about an orthopedic doctor, you're lucky to even get 5 minutes to explain things. You need time to talk about your pain, what you're feeling, where the pain came from, where you're feeling it, to talk about progressions or regressions in exercise, to demonstrate proper technique or determine the appropriate intensities to work at, to talk through what you're doing at home. You can't get good quality results trying to cram that into 20 minutes, doing a few exercises with an exercise professional, and then hopping on a stim machine for 15 minutes. The third thing I wanted to share is regarding denials. These same insurance companies taking ridiculous premiums every year will still deny your claims for service. In response to the United Healthcare CEO death, it put out a statement that they were guarding against the evils of unnecessary care, meaning they are purposely trying to decide whether or not you actually need help. Not you, not a doctor, not a therapist, not a licensed professional, but the insurance company gets to decide whether you get care or not. So even if a doctor tells you that you need rehab for 6 months, or 9 months of PT following an ACL repair to get back to sport, they still have the ability to say no. And that actually happened to me with a Division I volleyball player that I worked with a few years ago. He had a really bad injury, tore every ligament in his knee, and had major surgery. The rehab protocol was 9 months minimum, and they cut him off after 6 weeks because he was functional enough to walk. And that was their only criteria. They weren't there to cover anything more than returning you to a functional state. My hope with all of this is just to continue to educate and empower people to stick up for their rights for better healthcare coverage, and to show that providers like me aren't charging cash rates or out-of-network insurance in order to rip you off. We know we are worth as much as a decent personal trainer, and we got into this business to try to provide better quality healthcare coverage to you. We can't do that seeing 20 to 30 patients a day for 15 to 20 minutes each. You deserve better, and so do we.